Good morning, ladies. My name is Shez, and welcome to the What If Slayer Was in My Hero Academia. So, some of you might not know who I'm talking about. Slayer is my new character that I created for My Hero Academia. And he's also the big brother to Momo Irozu. So his name is Slayer Rozu. Oh. Man, everyone calls him Slayer because he slays stuff left and right if he really gets his temper. But Momo always called him Big Brother. Or Coco. That's what Momo is sometimes tells him, like, Coco, go, or come over here. As they were little kids. Or age of 4. But then they went to a quirk doctor. And the quirk doctor says, well, Momo, you have creation quirk, but your brother has the he's quirkless. As let's just say that. As her parents got rid of him, so he lives by himself, a ran down place. Yeah. But let's say in this alternate timeline, Momo's parents took away his memories of them and Momo knows. So, yeah. They basically took away his memories and his emotions. Or actually changed his memories so that he was the only survivor of human race thing. Or them. Something. So, yeah. And they took away Momo's memories of him. So she would be the only child I own. So he decides to go to UA. And yes, I know, it's classic. I was trying to get near UA's story. So he goes to UA at age of 15. Forgot to say time skip, so. And he used his blades that he forged from his, and but they didn't even know, only he knew that he had a special power. So, yeah. As when he pulled out his swords and threw them, as he says, Chaos Oblivion! As all the 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, it's like those two swords. It's just like that guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, where the blue alien guy, he used his like whistle, and this spear just pierced it through everything. Yeah, it's basically like that. But he took out thousands and thousands and millions, trillion, billions of 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers. As, yeah. And when they sent a 0-pointer, and Momo couldn't believe how powerful he really gets. As he remembers that his own sister always called him Coco. So he named one of his other attacks after his sister's, or after his nickname. As the 0-pointer came, he says, as he took everyone out away, as he saves everybody, as though they notice that 0-pointer is going haywire. So he decides to go, runs up the 0-pointer robot's arm, as he says, as he lifts himself up and to the sky, as he says, Coco Impact! As he destroyed the entire 0-pointer with one attack. So yeah. It's basically everyone. Here, hold on. There you go. Did you hear me now? So, yeah. He decides to destroy the 0-pointer, and plus, only person that has feelings for him is, of course, one, the only, her. I know that she's in that, whatever that school is called. So, yeah. So she finds him attractive. Because his body was built the same thing as like that, but way more muscular, way more stronger than any normal human. So, yeah. So he gets it's into Class 1A. Same thing as Momo. Oh, his sister. But they don't know each other's. So, yeah. So once they got back to their house, Momo was talking about her internship thing, or her, like, that quirk assessment test, as her parents were listening. Man. Alright. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So her parents were like, huh, that's good, sweetie. But now go over to hers. She told her parents about the interesting boy that she's interested in. As she forgot his name. Or she didn't ask him his name. So, yeah. So she got into Class 1A. With Momo and rest of the classmates thing. So there would have been like 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 because of the. So he just, of course, when he threw a ball, it went further. Like it landed in infinity. So, yeah. And so I'm skipping the rest of like the rest and Heroes one. Heroes versus Villains. Because one, Momo and let's say Todoroki were the villains. And in him and her were heroes. So they got their like suits on. Like he wore like this armor. So yeah. So it was special enchanted or enchanted armor that allows him to absorb the attacks and turn his stamina all the way up. So, yeah. When Todoroki and Momo looked at his superhero outfit, he thought he was going to be a supervillain. But when he turns to look at them, he says, It's just a armor that I can modify at any time. As it also adapts to anything. Like if it's cold, it becomes heated. But if it was hot, it will become cold. Etc. etc. As Momo is like, holy crud, how did you? It looks like you had to pay a fortune to do it. Well, Momo, the after all, I designed it, and I modified some stuff. So he walks in, or so they walk in after them, and they, when he was walking, she decides to ask him to, or ask him about his name. As he says, what do you, why do you ask this? As as she says, well, I had, and when I saw you at that, yeah, so she's like stumbling over her words. As thank goodness he was wearing a mask, or like a helmet thing, as he's blushing inside. As they keep going, the room temperature gets colder on her, as it was Todoroki. So, as he actually packed a shield. So he used his shield. And he knocks Todoroki out like a light. As he smiles underneath, not even your ice or fire quirk, Todoroki. He can affect me. As he, and ready? Yep. And how did you not get, like, cold? With this armor is indestructible, but I modified it so that it can also adapt to like certain environments. So that's why. As yeah. So then they moved to up to where Bomb was and Momo. So Momo had set up explosives. Crazy girl. As she like was gonna do it, but then when he thought in his head of if, as he knows that Momo's insane, or or he actually doesn't know how insane. So he decides to, because if he could survive it, but his comrades and Todoroki and her can't survive it. So he decides, as Momo could see a green flame coming out of his eye, or out of his own mask. Kind of like what he does on that, but on, like, in Silveretta, it's green. So, as he moves Todoroki and her out, and he slips right past and touches a bomb, as Momo couldn't believe how fast he could go, as he says, I would rather had and touch the bomb than having to be exploded by. As he explains why he did that so fast is because if you actually pulled the trigger and all this stuff, you three would have been dead, and in 5 seconds. As they couldn't believe he spoke the truth about it, as he says, my infinity power works. As Slayer's like, as he walked with the Momo and her and Todoroki, or unconscious Todoroki. So, yeah. It's just a head trauma thing. So, yeah. So, she thought we're dead. And at first, her face said it. But then now, when she used time stream, or when, yeah. So he decides to give her his name. Friends call me Slayer. That's what I was born with, and sticking to it. So she says, Slayer. That's a cute name. And that's what she's saying. Like, that's a so cute name for you. It suits you, too. Because you know how to slay stuff, like, left and right. Yeah. But my hero name, as they, like, ridiculous hero names, as they ask, or to keep his reputation, he went Slayer or Infinity Lord. So he does, let's say, Infinity Lord, because that's just so funny. And everyone likes that name. Because so, yeah. So Momo decides, as she's like trying to think about it. So now these sports at USJ thing, usually I do yeah, let's do it. So, so when they showed up, the heroes or the villains came out of nowhere, like ambushed them. But he has false memories of the Nomu killed his parents. And so he got a little bit angry. Let me remind you, he has the powers of infinity and zero and chaos. So, yeah. So he slaughtered every villain that he saw, and he literally, as everyone and is even like Momo and them couldn't believe how strong his, and when he was done with all the villains, he looks over at the Nomu, as the Nomu's last command was to kill that kid. So he does, but he says, it's just you and me, big guy. You killed my family, now you die. As they both went toe to toe. And infinity slice, as he slices a Nomu from the brain all the way down, like a clean cut. So, as he was wearing that, so he looks over as he puts his swords away. Then he walks. So, yeah, basically, it was too brutal. So, yeah. Now, sports festival thing. Slayer got first place in all three, so I'm skipping it. We're actually in the fight of the final round between him and Bakugo. He actually says, as he smiles at Bakugo. That ticks Bakugo off. As, why are you smiling? You think as Bakugo says, let's see you without your weapon and your ridiculous armor. Shall we? As he says, as Bakugo's like, quit laughing. You thought my armor was my power? Or you who think that the armor and my swords were the that I rely on. No, my power is the had unlimited power. See, my armor and my swords channel my inner power. But do you want to see how powerful I really get? Hasuke Bakugo? As when he went Super Saiyan, like as Bakugo couldn't even hit him. And when he used his full power, he became a world's dangerous pro hero that's ever lived. He even used full power on Bakugo. Well, Bakugo had to go to ER room. Because that powerful punch absolutely annihilated the backstage, or the stage, or entire stadium, as they couldn't believe how powerful he really gets when he gets limited. And everyone's okay, it's just, as he says, I'm a little bit surprised, Sasuke Bakugo, that you're still took a full force of my attack. That was just a sample of my power. I used full power. Then I would have had to kill you off. As Momo's parents that were watching it couldn't believe that their own son had this much power. As he says to Sasuke Bakugo, this is what you get when you pick on the quirkless people like me. As they couldn't believe the quirkless kid that has this unlimited power, or this, his power level is infinite or whatever. He ends up as Momo, who couldn't believe that she couldn't believe that he has no quirk but has unlimited power. Like, he literally told them that. So as Sasuke Bakugo went in to gonna do the attack again, as he says, that doesn't work with me. As he used his full power. Like, I'll show you my real power. Is it, boy? As his body became like the sentinel being, like took a form of the god's power or entire form. He looks at Bakugo with such tense eyes. One flick of his fingers sent Bakugo flying to the crashing into 20 buildings and landed in the ocean. As only like entity self is. So yeah. And his entity self was bigger than Mountain Lady. As All Might couldn't believe this big entity with 52 million hands and ending all the way it makes Mountain Lady's transformation looks like a size of a ant. So that's how big he is. As he she is thinking in her head, this is what she's thinking. He's my friend. So that's what she's saying. He's my boyfriend. So yeah. And he had his eyes closed. As when his eyes open, it obliterated the entire stadium. As his eyes was the same color as hers. So yeah. As everyone in the entire, like, when they all saw him, most of the girls couldn't believe how adorable he is. As he breathes in, breathes out. Yeah. So he transforms back into his human-like state as he says, looks like I win that round. As now at the villain's base, the All for One saw what happened, so he says that must be a quirk. As the doctor says, no, it is not. I did a scan for him, and turns out he was quirkless. So, Yeah, sorry about that. And he says he's quirkless. As he says, or as All for One looks at the doctor and says, "What? How is this possible? Did the quirkless found a way to obtain power without a quirk?" No, he was born with it in his bloodstream, in his own power. Interesting. Kidnap him, okay? Yeah. So now back at UA, as everyone knew, don't set the guy off. So, yeah. But Momo's parents called Momo, or actually, after that happened, they all went back home. Momo's parents told Momo, or like, actually, she wasn't just a only child. So yeah. So she was basically, she says, really? As she says, or as her parents says, yeah, really. You're that guy that turned into like godly form is actually your brother. As she says, my brother? Huh. Yeah. We used our power, or I used my power to change your memories, or take away the memories of your brother so you don't remember. So that's why so let's change it back as she did. And so they told her all about her brother, how both of you, like, you always called him Coco since you two were little. As Momo is happy about if he or if she could see him again. Well, see, that's the thing. Your brother will not remember you because we actually changed his memory so that his parents, or that so we kind of like abandoned him. So, and yeah. So then, so she's like, really? And yeah, because we thought or because the study shown that he was quirkless. So, yeah. As she says, no wonder why he says that don't pick on quirkless people like me. you don't know if they have the inner power or infinite knowledge. As he tells Bakugo that, as Momo couldn't believe Eve. So, yeah. And so the next day, she decides, or actually, her parents told her to bring her brother over. And yeah. So she, like, in class, she knew where her brother was. And there was. As, hey Momo, what's up? Well, I have the one thing to ask you. It's something to do with only you. Or my parents wanted to ask you something. So he says okay. And he, after school, as she actually asks him about, or to go on a date with him. As, sure. So then, so she knows that, because when when her parents told her that they did some research on the boy, his full name is Slayer Rozu. Oh. Basically, when they told her that, she says, I really don't care. But as long as me and him dating. Okay? So, yeah. So, they basically were after school, as she says, don't be late, okay, sweet pea? I won't. Okay? As they was being so romantic one, as Momo couldn't. So, yeah. So they went over, and of course, Momo's parents restores his memories, or like change them back. But he still has to, or he or they kept his, like, love thing too. So, yeah, basically, they aim, like, both of them, between him, the Slayer, and her, were basically dating for a long, long time. And then they got married, as it was like her idea. And yeah, basically, she dated him. So please wait for part two. No?